Hello, IASA. My name is Lindsay Spann. I am the Employee Engagement Specialist at IAT Insurance Group. I have the privilege of serving on the Diversity Committee. And this month we are interviewing Black insurance professionals and sharing their stories in the industry as a part of Black History Month. And I have the privilege as well today of interviewing someone that I've been able to see from day one, my mother, Sonja Cheeks-Spann, who is the Customer Service Manager at SageSure Insurance Managers down in Tallahassee, Florida. Welcome, Mom.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for your time. So I think the best place to start would just be for you to tell us your story, how you got started in the industry and where you are today.
Okay, well, honestly, I, never dreamed I would, be in insurance I have a 40-year career in insurance, but I started working for a company called Provident Mutual Life back in college, back in the early 80s, and I did it to supplement my income. I started there in the mailroom. And after a year or so of working there, I began to become familiar with the industry and what it was about, and how it actually helped people. And I started to look for career opportunities there, and so I entered initially in pension benefits administration. I worked for Provident for 13 years, and I kind of became a team lead. And then after being there for about 13 years, I decided to start looking for other opportunities to grow. And I began working for a company called United Pacific Life, where I still continue to work in the pension benefits industry. I took a job, my first role as a leader. And then the company was eventually bought out by GE Financial. And I was at that point had the opportunity to relocate to work with another insurance company owned by GE on the West Coast. We moved to Seattle, Washington when you were a very little girl, and stayed there for 5 years, worked for GE, got the opportunity to relocate and come back east to be a little closer to our families again. So we were very happy about that. And I continued to work for GE until around 1999, and I got an opportunity to enter another field of insurance, which was property and casualty insurance. So again, I took a supervisor role and I started working for Nationwide Insurance, which I worked for them in Lynchburg, Virginia, which is where you were raised, for about 15 years. And then I got the opportunity to move relocate to Columbus, Ohio, their home office, where I stayed for about 2 years. At that point, I began to, start to feeling my way around, and I decided I didn't want to live in Ohio. I wanted to move, back further closer to our families that were, down the East Coast. So I actually left Nationwide and got the great opportunity to move to Tallahassee, Florida, and become the customer service manager for SageSure Insurance Managers back in 2018. And here I am today.
Awesome. Yes, you've had quite the journey, and we've been along for the ride. Got to see some really cool parts of the country that maybe otherwise we wouldn't have. So
absolutely.
Another tidbit that we can let the viewers in on is that we actually work for sister companies,
absolutely.
Which is something that we found out during my interview process with IAT just about a year and a half ago, at SageSure Rights for Homeowners.
Right. Which is very, very cool because, I think, that partnership and is Well, it's very good, and we love our IET partners. So having you work there is, just makes me proud. Very happy about that.
Yes. So would you say that you saw yourself in the insurance industry, or do you feel that more that it found you?
I would have to say it found me. I mean, honestly, like I said, as a young adult, I just, wanted, it was a way to make money. I got the opportunity to work for a company, an insurance company, and I had no idea that's not the field I had chosen for myself. But once like I said, I got there and I learned the business, and I had some wonderful leaders and mentors who guided me along the way. And I have to say, all my life it's been that way. I've had people who have, you know, kind of pushed me in the right direction and given me good advice. So, I think it was, honestly, I feel like it is my life's purpose. Yes, I do.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that there are a lot of people in the industry that can say that. I think I'm one of them, even though I saw you, progress and move into different roles. It wasn't anything that I necessarily saw myself in. I do think that it
Hmm.
found me at the time that it was meant to. But,
Hmm.
because of
Hmm.
your career, because of the paths that you paved, I was able to at least see myself as an African American woman in the industry. And so that
Hmm.
I think allowed me to take that risk and into stepping into something that was unknown to me
Right. Hmm.
from that degree. So thank you for that.
I absolutely. Very proud of you.
Are there any guiding principles that have contributed to your success?
Yes, I would think there are a couple. And, one of them is, I mean, we always strive to do our best, right? And one of the most important things I've learned is that I have to always be myself. Authenticity is very important, right? And whatever you do, you have to carry that with you. I don't care where you work or what your job is, or how big or small you think it is. And also, you have to have courage in whatever you do. Everything is always not going to be the way you think it's going to be. As you said, sometimes things come your way, and you have to have the courage to not be afraid to step out and face the unknown.
Right.
So I would say those are my two guiding principles.
Awesome. Yes, you've definitely lived out both of those. And I think when you have someone that one you can relate to,
Mm,
and you see them living out those principles, it certainly makes it easier for you to see yourself doing those same things.
hmm.
So, were there any mentors or people in your career that helped you see courage or to see the ability to take those risks?
Yes, because I was always given those people who I mean, I can name maybe five on my hand throughout my career that were very impactful, um, to me, and they actually, had those conversations with me. So I had people who spoke with me, and having that managerial courage that I was speaking of early, that's because they put those challenges before me because they knew I could do it. um, and I always had the support there. But and at the same time, having to have that courage. But as I said, it's important to be yourself and
Right.
always remain true to who you are. Because if you do that, then everything will be fine. It'll come out, it'll work out in the end. So definitely, had those folks in my life who, you know, set the example for me.
Yeah, that's so important. What
Hmm.
would you say is the best career advice that you've received?
Not to be afraid,
Mhm.
not to, to have the courage. I think that's the best advice. And always do your best. like, you can't, I don't care what your career path is, right? As mentioned earlier, it's really just about whatever, you know, role you've been given, whatever task is before you, that you do your best. And that's always going to be recognized. It will not go unnoticed.
Right.
So I would think, anyone entering into a career at this point, don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Take the chance.
Yeah,
Such
I
as
think
yourself.
I was gonna say, yeah, I've done that a couple of times, but again, because of seeing you do that, it gave
Hmm.
me the courage and the ability to, and confidence, I would say, more than anything, to be able to do that. So
Absolutely.
I think that's great advice for those
Hmm.
looking to get into the industry. In my role, I recruit for early career
Mm.
talent. So we have trainees that are
Hmm.
coming in that have never even stepped foot into a professional,
Right.
space, maybe outside of an
Hmm.
internship. And so I think one, encouraging them to be themselves,
Hmm.
and like you said, and to have that courage to
Hmm.
just show up and
Yeah.
try your best,
Do your
right? And the
best.
rest will certainly work
Rest will
itself
come.
out.
Hmm.
Awesome. So to kind of switch gears just a little bit, as I mentioned in the beginning, I sit on the diversity committee for IASA, and so a huge piece of what we are doing is providing resources around diversity and inclusion, specifically in the insurance industry, but also what can companies do, specifically insurance companies do, to
Hmm.
really put some effort and intentionality behind their inclusion and diversity efforts. So what can you share that from your experience, have you seen a transition in the insurance industry around diversity and inclusion? Have you seen changes from when you started, or 40 years ago to now? And what are some of those things that you've experienced?
Okay, well, a lot. I mean, honestly, I've seen, the insurance industry evolve, in that area a lot over the years. Um, I believe they've consistently worked on it and they know the importance of having diversity and having a blending of ideas from people from, different educational backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, and work experience in order to be successful. They need that. And I think they understand that it's just as important to have a staff that is as diverse as the people who buy their products.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's sometimes a piece of it that we don't think about as much. It's more of that
Hmm.
internal focus of
Absolutely.
we need to be
Hmm.
diverse. We need to have diverse thought, which is absolutely important. But also thinking about we need to be representative of the people that we serve, which is
That's
a
correct.
diverse, group of people
Absolutely.
and diverse products and all of
Hmm.
those pieces. So
Absolutely.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so, so much. This has been a treat, Mom, to hear about your career and what's helped to guide you to where you are. Certainly, like I said, you've been an inspiration to me and paving the way for me, and I'm sure many others, as
Hmm.
well as you've journeyed through your career. And so we thank you for
Absolutely.
your time.
Absolutely.
And I hope that we have many more conversations like this. Of course, you and I talk like this a lot, but other opportunities to invite others in to hear more about your experience and what you've done. But this has been such a treat for me.
Well, thank you. Pleasure's mine, all mine. And just seeing you, starting off your career and doing something that you're passionate about and that you love, it just suits you. And it just, makes me so proud that, it makes these last 40 years that I've spent working and, having you grow up, watching me, it's paid off. And I'm very proud of you.
Well, thank you,
Very good.
Mom. And
Hmm.
thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And yes, hopefully we'll have more conversations like this in the future. Thank you.
Surely. Thank you.